All right, peace and love, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And many blessings and great abundance to you all this evening. Thank you for joining me tonight on this Lions Gate Portal evening, August 8. And tonight we're going to be talking about the Lions Gate Portal and what that means to us in this dispensation and time in planetary in this new planetary year that we're in. The new year began with the red self-existing moon, correct?
That's exactly
Yes.
right. Yeah.
Yes. And so we're going to be talking about what all of that means of my special guest tonight, Brother McCool Ray. So summer is a very special time of year. It's energetically, especially to me. It's one of my favorite times of year. And there's several cosmic events that are taking place during the summer, starting with the summer solstice. Then we have the day out of time. Then we have the planetary new year in July 26th. And then we move into this period of time with the um, my mind just went blank with the I don't know what just
Today's
happened.
portal, the Lions Gate.
The Lionsgate portal, thank you. The Lionsgate portal. And so with this new change is so much energy and so much frequency that's coming in. And many people, including myself, have been feeling these frequencies for the last several weeks. We've been having a lot of ascension symptoms. I just had brain fog just now. We're having lots of people telling me that they're having issues with nausea, sleeping less, a lot of insomnia, or sleeping too much, and just feeling drained and tired, and just a antsiness, a feeling of something coming, something happening, something, some kind of energetic shift. And there's been a lot of shifts going on in this year, and especially the summer months. There's been a lot of movement, a lot of change, a lot of growth taking place. And so we're going to be talking about that this evening and what makes it special, especially the energies and the codes that are coming from Sirius, which is really strong in the summer months, especially before and during the planetary new year. So we're going to talk a little bit further on that. So I'm going to let you take it away if you'd like to, Brother McCool.
Well, I appreciate the invitation to share, of course, with you, Queen Tamara, on this most auspicious date,
Yes.
the Lions Gate 8-8 in the Gregorian calendar.
Mm-hmm.
These numerical frequencies obviously position us to be numerically aligned with the value or the quality that's embedded or
Mm-hmm.
communicated through these numbers. So 8-8 is a very particular gate. And it's interesting also, if we understand this portal window is not just today, but really
Mm-hmm.
began around the beginning of this new 13 moon year. It
Yes.
begins really annually around that period, around the 25th, 26th of July, and goes until about the 13th or 14th of August.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are other factors then that connect beyond that, because then following that, you have the harmonic convergence from 1987, and that has a ripple effect similarly with this portal window that we cross annually.
Mm-hmm.
This portal, as you mentioned, is connected directly to the star Sirius and our
Mm-hmm.
planetary relationship as a planetary system here in our solar system, and the fact that we have a direct relationship with Sirius, Sirius B, Sirius A,
Mm-hmm.
A being the one that we primarily can see, the brightest star in the night sky, as
Mm-hmm.
it's noted, and then Sirius B, not visible to the naked eye, but it
Mm-hmm.
has an incredible pull, literally a gravitational pull and relationship with our planetary body. And so
Mm-hmm.
this is what we're actually experiencing in many ways with, as you mentioned, the very various symptoms that people may be experiencing during this window. And I would also go on to say it's becoming an increasing effect, because each year we want to appreciate that this is a compounding effect around this time of year. So it's been building up for more than 30 years at this
Mm-hmm.
point in the timekeeping. So,
Mm-hmm.
in other words, we've been in this phase shift or entering transition into this new era for the past 30 years, really since the harmonic convergence.
Yes.
So, that particular event opened the way
Mm-hmm.
for this more transformative phasing to occur. And now more and more people increasingly are becoming sensitive and aware of it, and in various ways it's going to affect each of us differently,
Mm-hmm.
because it is a matter of an awareness to it. It's a matter of perhaps the composition of our physical bodies. If we're hydrated enough, are we being hydrated? Because these energies are so high frequency that we may be unaware that it actually can dehydrate us. So we want to be cognizant to staying hydrated, just to be able to mitigate any of those imbalances we may experience due to the magnetic pull of this experience, of this dog days of summer, as it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it the dog days because it does correlate to the dog star Sirius.
That's what I said. Right.
Okay?
Exactly. Yes.
I've been really contemplating lately about the value of the number 52, because that's said to be the cycle of Sirius B with Sirius A. It's also understood by the traditional Maya to be the window through which a human comes to full being or maturity, or basically coming from a child to an elder. And when you become an elder, you come to a certain fullness, and they mark that age at 52. And that's a factor of 13 times 4. So when you begin to look at the timeline in natural time through that lens, you begin to see the synchronic order of numbers as it plays out. And then there's the recognition of as above, so below.
Mm-hmm.
So if the timing in the heavens, or we'll say Sirius, B and A, is 52, and that's the frequency, it would make great sense that we have a biological rhythm that's also akin to that. It's a reflection on Earth, of what is in the heavens, right? The heavenly skies, so to speak.
Yeah.
So the reflection of that is very important, just to note the number, because all is number. And when we appreciate the numbers, they communicate a quality and they communicate frequency, right? Or how frequently something occurs. So when we look at the 52 weeks per year, that's another example of that 52.
Right.
Bear in mind, again, these are all factors that are synchronized in nature, in natural timing and natural order. So as a species, we've been less aware of that relationship for the past 500 years because we've been under the duress of being disconnected from that relationship, like through violence and by force, right? So we're at a period now also where at this point of the year, this is in a way a regrouping and a recalibrating and a remembering, and also a purifying, because it's clearing away the forgetfulness, the forgetting, so that we are not as inclined to forget. And as a result, we're actually moving into greater balance personally, but also as a collective, as a species. Even though the world may look how it looks, and there's a lot of variables at play right now, one thing to really lean into, though, is the accuracy and the assuredness of nature's timing. And that's one thing that the ancient ones have been aware of for a very long time, for millennia even. Long before our modern cultures and society, the accuracy and orientation to these natural cycles has been a real anchor for consciousness for people living in right relationship with the earth. And that's one of the things we're both invited to and challenged to move into more and more now, no matter what.
Yes.
So it's just great that we have this recurring amplification through the 8-8 gateway to really appreciate that it's an amplification of the energy. It's also the point at which the heliacal rising of Sirius is now visible at the Giza pyramid. So this is the gate for that. Prior to this, it first becomes visible in the Yucatan Peninsula, where you have the pyramid of Chichen Itza, that sacred land, which is nearby the 19.5 latitude line, and it becomes visible there around the 24th or 25th of July. Hence why we celebrate the day out of time in the beginning of the new year in that window, because it's the point at which 19.5 is in alignment with the heliacal rising of Sirius. Today we celebrate that alignment with Egypt.
Yes.
So it's a phasing each year that it incrementally becomes more and more visible into August in the Northern Hemisphere, just according to that timing and pattern. And each year, it also has a great impact on us. It's just that now more and more people are actually aware that they're being impacted. People
Mm-hmm.
are asking more questions. People are doing their own research and study. We're more sensitive as beings, also. Like, we're more sensitive to everything,
Yes.
really. You know, that's a part of our process of evolving to some degree, because we've been otherwise very dense for so long,
Mm-hmm.
where we have been less sensitive. We've
Mm-hmm.
been very much, a global society that's largely been driven by the industrialized mentality and the extractive, scenarios that have kind of dominated the world stage and financial reality or in these other realms. And we have been ignorant to the impact of being so extractive. Yet now we're becoming more sensitive to the fact that that's not a really regenerative or sustainable way to move forward at all. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't have another choice but to really reconsider how to get ourselves into proper alignment with the natural timing of reality. There's the artificial timing that's kept things out of sync for
Mm-hmm.
500 years. And we know by several signals, according to various observations on these timelines, that that time is over. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
From indigenous prophecy to very specific calendars that suggest that that timing is over, and we're in this new place right
Mm-hmm.
now. We're not the same type of human being we were 100 years ago, even.
Facts.
We're
Yes.
actually a new species.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of the outcome of us navigating through this literal photonic or light energetic shift
Mm-hmm.
that becomes heightened around this time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we're also approaching what's called the solar maximum in the next couple of years, 24, 25, 2024, 2025, we're going to also experience again that increase in this presence and the dynamic energy of clearing and lightening. So when somebody becomes enlightened, it means they are literally lightening themselves, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you're releasing the density that's out of sync and out of harmony with your most natural self or natural being. So yeah, that's my share on this. To some degree, I think it's just, really a special time. There are many people of all backgrounds and walks of life who are in one way or another aware of the portal today, have been
Yes.
for previous and subsequent years to come. So we want to really take the time to acknowledge and tap into the collective sense of the shift, while also really being present in our own direct experience as well. Just really taking note and connecting on a day like today, and really in this whole period from July 25th through the middle of August. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very powerful window
Yes.
within which to really connect in nature, in a natural setting, and making sure you're staying very, very hydrated, because obviously it's very hot in many places on the planet right now. So we need to
Mm-hmm.
balance our hydration. It's hot in terms of the temperature of heat and the weather, but it's also hot in terms of the variable energy, because we're raising our vibration.
Absolutely.
And so there's
Absolutely.
also that. It's like heating water on a stove. We're literally changing our material makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, I'll just say this: the light that's coming in is affecting our very DNA. It's affecting our molecular being. It's affecting our energetic being. It's a time where people are also becoming more aware of their energetic body. You have your physical body, your
Mm-hmm.
mental body, your emotional body, your energetic body, your auric field. Then there's the etheric aspect of it, which is another density, we'll say. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the astral, which is another level that we operate through. And at a time like this, all of these various layers that belong to us, like the layers of an onion, essentially, you know, like all of that is getting aligned.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
so, however deliberately we can be in alignment with the alignment,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be, I would say, even that much more of an effortless process. So the one thing that we're being challenged to now is to get out of our own way, because
Absolutely.
this energy is happening whether we're aware of it or not, or
Absolutely.
whether we're conscious of it or not. Now, we may look in our lives and say, hey, what's going on with this reconfiguration? Why is everything so upside down?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, and that has to do with our placement in a way. It has to do with how we are placing ourselves in this experience, in this process. So, being in a space of surrender and willingness and openness, it's really recommended, even though right now people are also feeling to contract and shrink in and cut themselves off sometimes because there's a lot of fear out here
Mm-hmm.
as well. There's a lot of miscommunication and confusion. But even with that, we're still getting evolved individually and collectively. And so
Mm-hmm.
just staying open to that reality, I think, is very important so as not to get distracted or dissuaded by other things that may be also necessarily playing out, which is
I
fine.
had a question to ask because I know there's a lot of talk about the day out of time and the planetary new year. And many people had this misconception that the Lion's Gate is a portal that opens on the 8th and closes, and it's not that type of thing because we know that in the cosmos, time is linear,
Hmm.
not linear, I'm sorry, time is cyclical.
Hmm.
And the portal gradually starts opening in July around the time of the day out of time and planetary new year, and then it culminates this week in August. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening during this portal and this energy shift that's taking place? Or this, yeah, I would say a shift. It is a shift in a
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah, it is. I would call it a reorientation
Mm-hmm.
because it's happening again and again annually.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a way, we're being reoriented and recalibrated in alignment with Sirius. And Sirius, for our planetary selves and planet Earth and our solar system, is actually as if like our grandparent. It's the one that gave birth to this world that we currently inhabit.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in light of that, we're also being evolved from that source. It's as if it spat us out and has never let us go. In other words, it's kept us in alignment and relationship, whether we've been aware of that or not. Now,
Mm-hmm.
at some point along the line, different people and groups of peoples were made aware of that, like the Dogon and the Hopi and the
Mm-hmm.
Maya and the Olmec and the Kemetic, right? There are cultures and traditions, the Lakota, and many others, Tibetan culture as well. For the star knowledge and the star people, this is relatively ancient and inside the context of community, a common knowledge. Now, in the Western world, that common knowledge has been held back and suppressed largely. So the Western mind has been made ignorant to some degree of the fact that these primary original groups, right, have long been tracking the relationship with Sirius. It's
Mm-hmm.
not a new thing. It's well documented. People can research it. They can come to understand that the Dogon knew about the relationship of Sirius B and its orbit around Sirius A, and knew it to the degree where they were able to map it
Mm-hmm.
accurately, that was then later validated when telescopic technology was invented basically in the 1800s to then validate what the Dogon have known for millennia, right?
True. Yeah.
So the code of these frequencies and the relationship between Sirius and Earth is one of those elements that's also been deliberately hidden and made occult from your common average person, because to be aware of it puts you in alignment with the source of creation in terms of the general mapping of our cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
We have a paternal relationship with Sirius.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, obviously, that's been something, when that level or dynamic of consciousness is connected, it makes other attempts to control people and diminish who they are, much more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So the church and state could not allow this knowledge to be common, So it has been made hidden. And as a result, you know, it's like there's now a reclaiming, a reclamation of ourselves. There's a greater recognition now among all cultures and all people of various backgrounds, as I said, who are becoming more cognizant and aware that we have this interstellar relationship that affects us.
Mm-hmm.
And that we, because we are where we are, this has been a compounding effect. And now we're in this period of acceleration in our process, it's becoming more and more increasingly prevalent for people to recognize. Just like on what was the date specifically where they were revealing? I don't remember the exact date, but very recently, where the big telescope, the James Webb telescope, was revealing like these phenomenal new images, right?
Okay. Yes,
Uh,
that remember that was back in the springtime, I think.
It was just actually a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They just released some new images, some composite images or things like this. But the
Mm-hmm.
point being, it's like by having a reflection of what is otherwise, you know, hidden from our view or sight, it catalyzes something in our cognition and our consciousness that you can't put back in the bag. You can't put back in the box. You can't put back
Mm-hmm.
to sleep. So people are again awakening, and that can't be denied or ignored. Like now, technology is at a planetary scale. The ability to communicate is instantaneous, which is proto telepathy, basically, to get on Messenger or Instagram or WhatsApp. It's essentially proto telepathy, right? Because it's not genuine telepathy, but it's nearly at the speed of telepathy. It's a
Mm-hmm.
proto telepathy of sorts. But that ability to exchange information and data and images and visuals and video and all this information is also catalyzing and feeding into this acceleration we're all experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you can't put the awareness back in a container, even though it's been long suppressed for 500 years. But that's the thing, nobody can stop the time.
Yeah.
Like Redemption song Claim, Robert
Yes.
Nesta Marley, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Big up Ashe, because
I
that's
shame.
prophetic truth. And here we are living those prophecies. That's one thing I want to point out right now. We're
Mm-hmm.
living prophetic times. We're living in prophetic times. These are times that
Yes.
have been foretold. And it's, as you said before, it's not like it's just the 8/8 date today. It
Mm-hmm.
is a phase shift, meaning it's a period of time through which we're phasing and shifting.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does begin in 1987, largely
Mm-hmm.
with the harmonic convergence, as I mentioned. It begins there, and that begins to enter us into this process of remembering. And it basically, in 87, there was a completion of one particular 52-year cycle, and that then gave way to a conjoined or connected 52-year cycle to come. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one of many cycles that we're actually becoming aware of now and tracking along this sort of evolutionary path, because we have this in a way a convergence, right, of technology,
Mm-hmm.
of this higher vibrational cosmic energy, of our intelligence as a species, of our resensitization, generally, like we're each becoming more and more sensitive and remembering our gifts, we can say, in various ways. So
Yes.
there's this whole coming together of all of these scenarios and conditions that's ripe for a major quantum leap. And
Mm-hmm.
in a way, that's what we're experiencing. Now, just imagine, though, that 52 years from 1987 to the year 2039 is like that. We have
Mm-hmm.
to understand, because time is an illusion, we can actually make such leaps in consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if I see myself there in a particular state of being in 2039, then I'm already there now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same thing forward and backward either way, right? We can get beyond the idea of time as a limitation and realize time as a synchronization, right? It's the
Absolutely.
synchronizing factor of nature. This is also why in the natural time calendar we track a 260-day cycle, because that relates to the period of gestation in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what each period and subsequent period of those 260-day cycles is tracking. The period of gestation in the womb, so something coming to a full term
Mm-hmm.
to then be birthed, right?
Yes.
So there's the seeding preparation and then the birth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the timing masterfully that's woven throughout all creation. According, fractally speaking, I could get into more technical information, I won't, but just understand that the 260-day cycle
Mm-hmm.
is a fractal of a 26,000 year cycle, the precession of equinoxes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 26 is also half of 52. And as I said before, the number 52, which is something we're actually, tracking now, we're celebrating with 8/8, we're becoming more aware of that 26 plus 26 is 52. And each of us live a particular 52-year cycle of becoming an elder. So at 52, you are an elder officially, like you've gathered and gained enough life experience to be considered an elder. Yet the beautiful thing is when you become an elder, you're also the child.
Mm-hmm.
So you begin a new 52-year cycle with the innocence of a child and the vantage of an elder.
Ashe. That's the,
Seeing life through a spiral staircase, because we literally we exist within a spiral galaxy.
mm-hmm.
This is one other reflection of nature's timing and pattern, if you will, is to really appreciate the spiral dynamic of life itself. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're experiencing. So this year and each year to come between now and 2039 is a further amplification of this energy of collective maturity, so that we actually step into like a role as galactic beings, as galactic citizens that are actually here, knowing that we're not just in our limited worldview that's been sort of imposed on us through all these mechanisms and institutions, right? We're finally free from that and at will to create what it is we want to actually see. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the purpose of the gateway is meant to do, is help you amplify. So whatever you are intending will blossom and bloom effortlessly, because you're actually working with creation. You're working with the creative patterns and cycles, and they build upon each other, compounded effect each year after year, so that by next year you can dream into the notion of where you're going to be in a year from now, given where you're at right now. Knowing that you're on a pathway of amplification and evolution, and everybody else is too.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
powerful, very powerful. The Lion Gate is called Lion Gate because it's not just because we're in the zone of Leo, but the lion is a symbol that corresponds to Sirius codes and energies. Can you speak on that?
So, to what knowledge I have relative to that is that it's
Mhm.
definitely true. There's a correlation to the House of Leo
Okay.
constellation that we're passing through during this dog days of summer.
Mhm.
In terms of a correlate with Sirius, I don't know about a particular reference to Sirius necessarily.
Okay.
Doesn't mean there isn't, because there's
Mhm.
vast and copious amounts of knowledge and various perspectives around similar subject matter, right?
Mhm.
Um, so with that said, though, I think the qualities of the lion are also something that I think are very evocative at this time,
Yes.
because the lion is very much a regal type of quality.
Mhm.
And if we can appreciate again the paternal and maternal relationship we share with Sirius, we can regard the regality of our reality, the fact that we're actually born of this resplendent creative potency
Mhm.
that, beyond our wildest imaginations, has been governing all of this order
Mhm.
beyond our consciousness for as long as there has been anything to be, right? It's ongoing, and it's ever evolving too. So to me, the lion, the Leo aspect, represents that quality generally. I would also suggest that perhaps, like even as it's depicted in The Wizard of Oz, what does the lion have to gain, which is courage?
Mhm.
Well, this is what our collective in this process of evolving has to also gain, is using this time to amplify and ignite our courage to revel and stand and celebrate in the magnificence that life is, and the opportunity to truly be a reflection of, we might even go so far as to say, the qualities of the Christ reflected in the conquering line of the tribe of Judah. Like, if we want to really take it there, because that's really
Yes.
what's being evoked and inspired at this time, is truly a livication of the entire planet to a crystalline Christed energy. That's what today, as we speak about this gate, is availing us to. It has to do with that alignment as well. There are even some accounts that would suggest the birth date of the historic Yeshua, Isa, to be in July. So
Hadn't heard that one. Okay.
so there are various accounts and perspectives, as I said, that relate to the symbolism of the lion. For example, though I do understand popularly, it's definitely co-aligned with the fact that we're transiting through Leo in the zodiac.
Yes.
But there's a lot of layers. Like with all things, you can find layers of meaning in everything, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for clarifying that and for answering those questions. Would you share with the listening audience your contact information?
Absolutely. I'm
I know you
excited.
had to go.
No, thank you. I appreciate that. But folks can follow up with myself and this work at a couple of locations. One is theharmonicfactor.com, theharmonicfactor.com, which is a location where we advocate for the change of the calendar to a 13-month, 28-day standard. We call it the harmonic standard. And we call the calendar change the untried solution, because it does absolutely impact consciousness and our relationship with timekeeping. And it's a very existential approach to shifting consciousness at this most important time and advancing the work of great ones who've gone before us to help make us conscious of the need for this. Also, people can follow us on Facebook at Harmonic Convergence 2020 to 2028. That's a bit of a window that we've been tracking at the Harmonic Factor. That being this
2028.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's the place where we can be found with a lot of the work happening around this subject matter on Facebook. And then also on Instagram, we're at the Harmonic Factor. So you can find us there as well. Okay. And I'm at Makua Ray, MIKUAKRAI on Instagram. That's probably the most direct place if folks want to be in touch.
Okay, then.
But it's a real honor. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Always an honor to have you. Always have share this this wealth of knowledge, this cosmic knowledge with our listening audience. And like you said, it's a remembering process. It's something. It's not new age, it's old age, and we're just remembering it and awakening back to these time and frequencies. So I always appreciate love you sharing this with us.
No, the pleasure is mine. I really appreciate you as well. And blessings to everybody out there in this gateway portal. Continue to enjoy the ride through the 35th anniversary of the Harmonic Convergence, August 16th and 17th. Just something to bear in mind. And that's a great, great way to really kind of encapsulate this window of about 33 days. It's a 34 days, 35 days, somewhere in there. It's a perfect window. And we're in the 35th year of that cycle. So there's another beautiful synchronicity there. 35 days since the day at a time to the Harmonic Convergence. And so we're in the 35th year. So peace and blessings to you and to everybody out there. Okay, we'll talk soon. Thanks. One love.
One love. Yes. So